Hi, and welcome to our first Q&A webinar of the year. My name is Vitaly Kobyashev. I'm the Regional Sales Manager for EMEA here at Ftrack, and today I'll be running the Q&A with our CEO and founder, Fredrik Limsater. Hey, Fredrik.
Hello, Vitaly.
How's it going?
Not too bad. You're putting me in the hot chair.
Yeah. Today it's your turn to go in the hot chair. Oh, I think we're going to, what are we going to discuss today? So today we're going to run through why Ftrack was created, some challenges and achievements, where we're going with in the future, about Ftrack and perspective. We're going to touch on some industry trends, and we're going to learn a little bit about you and the company culture.
Awesome. Thank you for having me, Vitaly.
Thanks for joining. So let's get into it. I guess there's a lot of questions that have been sent in, and people are dying to know. So, in a layman's 2-minute explanation, what is Ftrack and our technology?
All right, so let's see if I can condense 12 years of development into 2 minutes. So in summary, Ftrack is a product management and production tracking platform for creative projects. And you could say it's designed to guide teams from initial idea to final deadline in a user-friendly, organized way. So the idea behind Ftrack Studio is for creative facilities to manage entire creative projects and then track every element of that project as it moves through the pipeline from one department to the next. And it really doesn't matter if it's an animated feature film, a commercial, or a 3,000-shot blockbuster. So Ftrack Studio will ensure that every moving part is created, iterated upon, discussed, and signed off at the right time, moving toward the end goal of project completion. And as icing on the cake, Ftrack Studio also includes media review functionality, which you may know is also offered as a separate solution via Ftrack Review and cineSync that we offer. And Ftrack Review and cineSync help creatives to use review tools to provide feedback on any visual media with annotations, comparisons, and time-stamped comments, all in sync, of course. So all in all, Ftrack Review is a browser-based application designed for simplicity and ease of access via your web browser. And cineSync is, as you know, a desktop platform being on-prem. I would say that's a condensed 2-minute overview of what we are offering today.
So it sounds like a real problem solver. So other than, I guess, what problems were you trying to solve when you were designing Ftrack, or what was the inspiration behind it?
Yeah, to be able to answer that, I think we need to go back in time a bit. So I'm an engineer. So my background is as an engineer. I love to improve processes and workflows, streamline, improve, iterate, and do that over and over again. And I started out in this industry, and by this industry, I mean visual effects. That's why I started. And I started out as a software developer almost 20 years ago, developing animation and simulation software for a bunch of blockbusters in the early 2000s. And over time, I moved over more and more working hands-on in production. And already then I was surprised how primitive the tools for production management was. I was also surprised to see that studios who should focus on creating the best content available spend time developing their own in-house management tools with their own development teams and support organization and everything for that. And every studio I worked at had their own bespoke platform. But with that said, some of these were really good. But is that what they really should focus and spend time on? So fast forward to, 2008. I was a new and maybe a bit naive co-owner of our own visual effects studio here in Stockholm. But I was enriched with much more experience and quite a lot of ideas on how I wanted to manage creative projects, from file management to people management to integrations into DCCs. And this was basically how Ftrack Studio started. So at the time, there were no good off-the-shelf products available to solve our needs. So we basically set out to create our own platform and system to solve our needs and challenges, with the goal to offer it to more studios around the world going forward. I think one of the first studios using Ftrack outside of our original studio was a company in Netherlands and another company in Poland. I know the names, of course. I'm going to leave them out from this webinar.
Sure.
But fast forward, 12 years, and now we have customers in 60 countries using Ftrack, and it's crazy. We couldn't have dreamt about that, 12 years ago.
It's an incredible achievement. So I guess going a little bit off script here, was it planned as a sort of a product to all, or did it start off as we're building this for us, the way I see it, sort of with your vision, and then kind of as it developed, you decided to then later put it out on the market?
Yeah, so I think back in the head, we had an idea that this could work for other studios. Mm-hmm. But of course, when we started developing this, we did it for our workflows. And it was, I wouldn't say hard coded, but of course, when we started offering to other studios around the world, we had to start from scratch again. But we had all this experience and knowledge of how we did it the first time. How can we do that in a more generic way?
Sure. And I guess that segues us into my next question, which is what was the biggest challenge for you when creating and developing Ftrack?
That's easy. It's actually, let's see, how should I put this? It's the challenge of hiding the complexity of a system like Ftrack, because you do manage a lot of stuff, manage a lot of data. And how can you hide that complexity? So what we did was, you behind an easy to use, intuitive front end. Mm-hmm. And also remember, what we created was a platform and a system that will work for a multitude of different companies and requirements. Everything from 5 people in the teams to 3,000 people, global production houses. That's the real challenge. And I mean, from day one, that has been our focus. Create an easy to use, intuitive platform to handle really complex projects.
Okay. And I guess arguably we did that, right? You said 60 countries, hundreds of studios. Outside of that, what would you say would be, sort of on a more positive note, what would be your biggest achievements with Ftrack? Not Fredrik's achievements, I guess.
Yeah, the biggest achievements. So, I mean, there are quite a few. I mean, one being, going back in time, I remember when we signed our first really big account early on. I think this was back in 2012, on an account that are working globally. That meant a lot for us as an acknowledgement of what we've created. Another achievement that I remember, when we went to the cinema, watching a blockbuster, and we could say, hey, the visual effects in this movie, they're managed by Ftrack. That was like, damn it, we have done something. And I think finally as well, being able to support an industry that we truly love and are so proud to serve with a product, we created to solve the needs of the industry. That feels quite fantastic for us. And I'm talking about achievements. I'm sure there will be more achievements we can talk about soon for 2021 as well, but we'll leave that for next webinar.
Fantastic. We won't stop evolving. And I guess, you mentioned 12 years of longevity, right? So how have you seen Ftrack grow and evolve over those 12 years?
It's been an interesting experience. So we basically started out as 3 people or developers in Stockholm. We had one product, we had one niche segment of the creative industry. And now we are, 35 people across 4 offices around the world, serving a range of segments in the creative industry, from visual effects to episodic TV, animation, games, manufacturing, product design, and more. And again, when we started out 12 years ago, we couldn't have dreamt about this where we are today. And it's such an honor.
Yeah. And I guess part of that change was acquiring Perspective. So maybe you could tell us a little bit how that came to be and what is next for cineSync and the Perspective product line within the Ftrack portfolio or the group.
Yeah. So I think, first of all, Ftrack is a people company. And I met Rory, who was CEO at Perspective at the time, and some of his team members back in 2014. And I knew from day one that these guys would fit in perfectly at Ftrack. Easygoing, pragmatic, and super easy to work with. And Australians, who doesn't love Australians? And of course, they had a great product as well. But we are a people company. The people mean so much for us. So we basically worked together for 4 or 5 years, integrating our different products. We shared booth at all the trade shows until one day we decided to make an offer because we believed in the product and we believed in the team. So from 2019, they are now part of our group. They're still based in Adelaide, of course, and they are growing the team there. And they are now also fully responsible for the review workflows within our group, the Ftrack group. And we talked about, the future of what that will bring to the future. And I don't want to give away too much of what we're working on, but you will see much more integrated review workflows at Ftrack going forward. I'm sure Rory will do some really good presentations going forward here in the next quarter.
Sure, maybe we need to get him on a Q&A as well.
I think so.
Put him in the hot chair. So a big part of 2020 was kind of like the producer theme in development. Maybe you could tell us a little bit more about the producer theme and how we're planning to continue tailoring Ftrack to the needs of the producers in the months to come.
Sure, Vitaly. So when we started out 12 years ago with Ftrack, it was more a tool for artists and content creators than producers. Of course, we had tools for producers and have been adding tools for producers since day one. But basically, since 2 years back, we've made a big push and continue to make a big push on features and workflows, especially tailored for producers. And one feature we're working on is the advanced forecasting tools that you use when planning a project for the future. And it will visualize if you have enough team members available based on a certain skill set, for example, or if you need to bring in more people to the team. Other features we're working on is improved import and export tools. We know there's still a big crowd of spreadsheet users out there, so we're going to try to make that easier. And of course, we continue to improve the cross-project views that we introduced a year or so with even more features. And this is a view in Ftrack that we know gets used a lot when trying to get an overview over multiple projects a studio might work with. So a big focus for us going forward.
Good to hear. And I know from the feedback I'm getting from the customers, that is where, everyone's kind of asking for more, if that makes sense. I guess the artists are more satisfied than the producers are at this moment in time.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So what, I guess the follow on from that is what kind of technology are you excited about bringing into Ftrack that might not already be there, or what's kind of like in the industry trends that you're seeing that you'd like to implement?
I think there is no doubt that AI and machine learning will play an important role in the future for managing complex projects. Also, I think overall for us is to continue improving support for real-time productions. You have USD, of course. We also want to improve technology for data management in the ingest process. We're also looking at bidding and so on, for example. That's some of the technologies we are focusing on going forward.
Oh, is it nothing more to share?
Not without giving away too much.
Fantastic. Yeah. Guys, for everyone that's listening, sorry, that's joined us, if there are any questions that you have to follow up on anything that Fredrik's been answering, then please feel free to add them to the Q&A. And if we have time at the end, we'll get to those. So I guess that kind of leads into another section that I wanted to talk to you or kind of pick your brain on today. So you've mentioned some of them, I guess, now with machine learning and real-time production. What upcoming trends do you predict or have noticed in the past couple of years that are now having a larger and larger impact on the industry?
Yeah, I mean, this is not really an upcoming because it's been here for a while, and it kind of ties into my previous answer, and it's real time. I mean, much more is done in real time. It's you're doing a lot more on set already. Real time also changes a lot of what's going on in post, of course, and for us that will change the way you plan and schedule work. And it will definitely change how we or you conduct reviews in the future. So that's something we try to be on top of to see how can we adapt to this new model of VFX work and creative work. And again, tying back to the machine learning and AI. Especially for scheduling complex large projects. I think that's crucial for the future.
And then I guess question on the back of that would be are we working already with some real-time companies? Is there something that we're pushing, the other vendors that are working in that area, are we also talking to them? How are we managing that whole project process?
A good question, Vitaly. So last year we released both Unity integration and Unreal integration, and I think in Q3 we did release integration with the Perforce to really tie that whole real-time push together. And although they were released in 2020, we are continuing working on that because we see that more and more of our customers are asking for real-time support, and they're moving over their productions to real-time. I think we had a customer a few years ago who did a fully animated children's series all in real-time, and yeah, it's just super exciting to see where the industry is heading, especially for me who's been in the industry for 20 years. I'm used to sending stuff to offline rendering over the night and then come back and see that your renders failed. To be able to do that in real time, you get the result almost immediately. Yeah. It must be like mind blowing. Well, it's not mind blowing for today's artists, but for me who started out 20 years ago, it's I'm so amazed by what Unreal and Unity can produce. And it's also super exciting to see the tools that these companies bring to the market for the movie industry. So very, very clear trend on where the industry is going.
Where it's going, and I guess another cool little segue here to where it's going, but I guess that progress was somewhat quelled in 2020 with the pandemic and everything else. How do you feel the industry was impacted by the pandemic, and how do you think it has coped in over the last year?
Let's not talk about the pandemic. I'm just kidding. It's yeah. 2020 was a special year. I mean, both for us, of course, but especially for our customers and users. And I think if you ignore the fact that there was and is a shortage of new content to work on, and that the pipelines for studios are drying up, I think and I feel the industry have coped okay. I mean, a lot of studios were already set up in one way or another for remote work, and those who weren't quickly adapted to that reality. And I must say, I'm really impressed of how quickly some studios switched model. And of course, it helps if you are using tools and platforms already utilizing the cloud. But yeah, how quickly they adapted, that I think that shows the strength of our industry.
Yeah.
And I mean, going back to what it meant for Ftrack, I mean, we are a remote team already. So we have 4 offices, and we have team members already working remote from Madrid, Barcelona, Palma, London, Bournemouth. So we quickly adapted as well to the new reality, working remotely. So basically for the last 10 months, I've been alone in this office in Stockholm, which is just depressing. But hopefully soon I can start bringing my team members back. But yeah, of course, it's a challenge to work as a team during these circumstances.
Yep, and I guess our tools like ours help the collaboration process along. So I guess my last question on this topic would be, what are the next big things for creative project management? You know, what do you feel will change the way pipelines are built and tackled in, I guess, 2021 and the years to come?
So I will probably state the obvious here, but cloud native and remote work will be the new normal in the future, even for the big brick and mortar studios in the world. And of course, we will be here to help with our cloud platform, making that transition easier. But I think that's the big takeaway, that, I mean, it was already ongoing. What happened 2020 just accelerated the whole transition. So it's going to be very exciting to see, you know, what 2021 and 2022 will give us.
Yeah, there's definitely a catalyst for pushing things or going up and
for sure.
down, and for real. So I guess those are kind of the industry questions, and then we're going to slide into a bit more learning about Fredrik rather than Ftrack.
Oh my God.
And so some of these questions are pretty cool. So do you have a favorite film or films? And I'm gonna add a +1 question to that. You can't mention anything that's on the wall behind you.
Right, yeah. I like The Shining. All right, favorite films. I think I have a few actually. So growing up in the 80s had its benefits. And of course, I rate The Goonies very high. And don't make a remake of that. I will go crazy. Of course, we have Aliens, favorite movies. I actually introduced my oldest son to that whole franchise a while back. So he's not that young, he's 12 or 13 now. And he didn't find it scary at all.
No way.
I was like, what? I remember the first time I saw it, I was just, well, this was scary.
Yeah.
What else? Matrix, of course. It's one of the first one, favorite movie. And more recently, I actually watched Tenet, and I liked it a lot. Although I was a bit exhausted afterwards, trying to understand and keeping track of everything that happened. And as you maybe know, you need to see it twice to get some grasp of what's going on.
Yeah, I'm not yet, but it's interesting. It's interesting about you say about showing the younger generation kind of films from that era. I showed my little brother Terminator and Terminator 2, maybe a couple weeks ago, and he absolutely loved them. You know, I think some kids will like that nostalgic film, and he'll say the graphics are pony, that the story and everything else really, really holds on. And I guess testament to films from that time is they couldn't focus on the visual aspect as much as so they really went strong with the stories.
Yeah. No, I remember I showed something to Alfred and he said, "Oh, that looks so fake," or, but at the same time, he could see that something was a green screen or something like that. But, "Oh, Dad, is that a green screen?" I'm like, "Oh, my son, I've taught you well, my son."
Yeah. Yeah, I guess joining the VFX industry a couple of years ago really did kind of take some of the magic away once you start to learn all the different tricks of the trade.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So you yourself worked, you just said, "My son, I've taught you well." So what was your favorite project that you worked on when you did work in the VFX industry, sort of more on artist and technical side?
So I think about 15 years ago, I worked at Imageworks in LA, working on a really fun animation feature called Surf's Up. And I mean, even though the project was fun and challenging, but maybe not critically acclaimed, it was the people that made it special for me. Both my peers and my supervisors I worked with, I would still rate as one of the best teams I've ever worked with, outside of Ftrack, of course. And I think that experience has also influenced me in how I manage Ftrack and the team at Ftrack. I mean, we are a family. We work as a team. We empower people. And yeah, I must say, if any old colleague from Imageworks sees this webinar, thank you so much. And I miss you guys. I mean, it's just, you have those special moments in your life when you meet great people, you're working on great projects. And in my case, I was there with my wife in sunny LA. We could go diving, we could go working because I love my work. We could go hiking. It was just a really good moment in life for me. And working with that team meant a lot to me.
Fantastic. Sounds like a dream.
It was.
I've been to LA once, and yeah, I realized why people surf. I tried surfing once, and yeah, LA is definitely definitely a nice, I imagine, a nice place to live. So I guess a question was submitted that I will kind of retweak or remix a little bit. So it says, how would you describe working? How would you describe what working in Ftrack is like? But I guess I'll ask, how does it differ working in Ftrack than it did working within a studio on sort of a project rather than on a tool that will be later used on a project?
I mean, working at a product company always going to be different than working on like a studio, working on a product where you have, deadlines. Not that we don't have deadlines, of course, but you have crunch time and you need to deliver, and that can be stressful sometimes. But I think I learned a lot of that experience when we set up Ftrack. And I think here at Ftrack, we have a very open and honest environment, and we encourage curiosity and creativity. And I appreciate people working hard, but I will send you home at 6 p.m. to spend time with your family and friends. Because I believe we are nothing without our fantastic team members, and a team first approach in combination with the core value of adding value to our users is what will lead to success for Ftrack. That's my strong belief. But as I said before, when I was talking about Imageworks and my experience from there, I mean, from all the places I have worked, I have picked up what I really liked with the culture, the company, the managers, and tried to bring that into Ftrack. And hopefully that has worked. But you tell me, Vitaly.
Yeah, my computer switches off itself at 6 o'clock, and I don't know if
what?
You guys have installed.
You're fired.
Oh man, but no, yes, yeah. Ftrack is a fantastic place to work at, and I've I've been more happy than I've ever been in employment, I guess, since I've left uni. So yeah,
that's great to hear.
Testament to you. So some I guess more story time kind of questions here. What was your funniest trade show anecdote? And I'd personally like to hear the crazy ones. I guess the marketing department might want you to be.
So yeah, so I mean, all my really funny anecdotes involve some amount of alcohol, but I know that our marketing team will go ballistic if I bring that up. So I better not, Vitaly. But let's see. I mean, there are a few. I will try to keep it organized. But one funny anecdote was, I think it was SIGGRAPH 2017 in LA. And it was not on the show floor, but at one of the many company-sponsored events in the evening. And I think this was sponsored by AMD. And they had this buffet with spicy food. And I mean, really spicy food on another level. But the funny thing is that people didn't realize it until it was too late. And, you know, people ran for water or anything they could drink, almost crying. And I saw some really high-profile people trying to keep it together. And I know it's wrong to laugh, but we were sitting next to it and we were just laughing. It was so funny at the time. And the other anecdotes we can discuss at the next company party.
Fair enough. I won't try to get you in trouble. So we have one question here in the Q&A. What is the next movie you're looking forward to see?
Next movie. I have to think about that. Darn it. I usually know what I want to see. But I've been so busy lately that I don't have anything stacked up actually. That was embarrassing.
Quite surprised.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Well done, Lorenzo.
Vitaly.
Well, that was a question from Lorenzo Angeli, so we can have words offline. I have a question actually. So with 2020 being the year of lockdown and pandemic, and the year of baking banana bread and learning how to make cinnamon rolls, did Fred pick up any new hobbies, or did you pick up some old ones that you might have sort of been too busy to do?
Not any new hobbies, but I picked up stuff that I did in the past, and that's playing board games. And what I was trying to do 2020 and continuing now in 2021 is to start playing more advanced board games. And we're actually I have introduced a board game club here at Ftrack in Stockholm. So we're going to have an event every second month where we set off a few hours and, playing games like Gloomhaven, which is a bit more complex board games that takes longer time, but that's something I really enjoy doing. And I've tried to get my family to upgrade from the simpler family games to these kind of games, but they didn't really buy into it. So I'm trying to force people at the Ftrack to join me here instead. What else? What have I done? Yeah, so I'm trying. So every year I try to learn to cook a new dish really well. So it's been everything from making the best omelette to learn how to use sous vide. And this year it is to make the best quesadilla, LA style, of course, possible.
Nice. I haven't home cooked myself, but yeah, quesadillas, those are tasty.
It's the cheese. It's all about the cheese.
Yeah. Okay. I can't wait till Stockholm's open again, because I too an avid game boarder. So looking forward to that for sure.
So that's also why I sent games as a Christmas gift this year to all employees.
Yep, and I can proudly say I am the Exploding Kitty family and household champion, and will remain that title. Is that you as well?
Yes.
That's it. I'm gonna have to plan once we can travel again. We'll have to plan the visit around Game Board Week for sure. So yes, one more question that's come in, and actually quite a good one. Have you met anyone famous, or who? Well, I guess you have. So who was the most famous person you've met through working, I guess, before Ftrack and then after Ftrack, just to make it cool?
I mean, I was on set for Harry Potter, but I didn't meet any actors, only the owl. So I can say I met Hedwig.
Hedwig the owl.
So
right?
that was actually one of my first software projects I did at cineSync. I developed a feather simulator for the birds in Harry Potter. Wow. So we went on set taking all the photos to get the textures right and everything. And then, of course, working at Imageworks, or Sony Pictures Imageworks, and being able to go up to the studio lot. You met, famous people basically every day. So, I remember they were recording Da Vinci Code with Tom Hanks. So I met him, not spoke with him, of course, but just went past and tried to get a glimpse. Salma Hayek, of course. And I mean, just being able to go up to the studio lot at Sony Pictures were a experience. And all friends I had coming over from Sweden visiting wanted to go there. And you can actually do the studio tour, so you can see the whole studio lot. Wow. After that, I haven't met that many famous people. Not what I can remember.
Fair enough. Oh. So hold on. There is one more Q&A. Yes. We'll squeeze this last question in. What did you miss about Stockholm when you lived in LA? Great question, Dad.
So I'm originally not from Stockholm. I'm from the West Coast. But I think what we as a family missed living in LA. I mean, LA is great. I loved LA. But what we missed, I think, was the seasons. Spring, summer, autumn, winter. I think that's one of the things we really missed from Sweden, and one of the reasons we also moved back.
To be honest, that's one thing that I miss about sort of Russia and Ukraine. Living in the UK. In the UK, you're kind of grey 85% of the time, and the 50% you have a little bit of sunshine. Whereas back home, it goes from -30 to +30 in the summer, which is, I guess something nice. I just miss it. I don't know. I love nature. I love being out. So yeah. Anyway, sorry. Went on a little bit of my own tangent there. We are a little bit over time. So thanks if you guys stuck around with us. Fredrik, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to learn more about the industry and Ftrack, and more importantly about yourself. To everyone else, we'll be putting up more webinars for 2021 soon, so stay tuned. Keep an eye on ftrack.com/ I've always wanted to do that / webinars for more. Also, as I'll ask at the end of every webinar, to help us increase the value, please fill in the mini survey that we send out. Share your thoughts. This will only mean better webinars in the future. And from the whole team at Ftrack, we appreciate you for spending your time with us, and I hope you all took something away from this session. Thanks for today, and I bid you farewell.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.